give me.
Okay.
Good evening. We hope that you all having a wonderful evening and welcome to our webinar series. The Diamond in the Rough webinar series are brought to you by the Kappa Alpha Psi Foundation and the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. This evening, we're going to continue our series on our STEM week, and we have Mr. Tony Harrison, who is our chair of the STEM activities, who will now take over the webinar. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Brother Jackson. Good evening. My name is Antonio Harrison. I'm Eastern Province Guide Right Chair and Chair for the Kappa STEM National Guide Right Initiative and a member of the Alexandria Fairfax, Virginia Alumni Chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi. This week, we celebrate National Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week across the country. Join us in promoting awareness and exploration of cybersecurity careers. Tonight's speaker is Brother Dr. Carray Banks. Brother Banks is a native of Elizabeth City, North Carolina. He is an associate professor in the Department of Technology in the School of Science, Engineering, and Technology at Norfolk State University. Dr. Banks completed his BS degree in Industrial Arts Education from Elizabeth City State University, completed a Master of Arts in Professional and Technical Education at Ball State University, and a PhD in Vocational and Industrial Education from Pennsylvania State University. Dr. Banks serves as the faculty athletic representative at Norfolk State University and in a multitude of other sports-related areas, including academic advisor, team member at the university, NSU Hall of Fame selection committee member, and as former steering committee chair for NSU's Division I athletic recertification. So we have a lot to talk about this evening, and as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded. So now I turn the webinar over to Brother Dr. Carray Banks.
Brother Harrison, Brother Jackson, good evening.
Good evening.
It's a wonderful day to be a Spartan and here in Spartan land in Norfolk, Virginia, and I'm so pleased to have this opportunity to work with some dynamic leaders and some wonderful young people regarding technology and technical careers associated with our young folk. And hopefully we'll share a little bit of information about career choices, career decisions, and things that impact the students that choose to go into STEM fields. When I was first asked to talk about this subject matter, the principal interest was on cybersecurity. And so I do have a couple of cybersecurity links that are in this presentation that you can refer to at your leisure as you're looking at the PowerPoint that I'm doing. So let's start out with a little bit of business. The first thing I want to make sure is that this is an opportunity for great discussion, an opportunity to get feedback from any of the participants who have a question. So feel free to stop me at any time if you have a question or concern or want something repeated, or if you're just intrigued by some information and want some additional content. I'll do my best to assist you with that. And with that said, the next thing I want to make sure everyone is aware is this is a PowerPoint slide and presentation that I'm working with here. So feel free to contact me at any time, cbanks@nsu.edu, to get additional information once this webinar is over and you want some follow-up, or you'd love to have me to come and talk to another select group of students or classroom folks. I work with a number of boards and foundations, and this is the type of work I do, and I love doing it. So a chance to get more young people to come into our STEM and technical fields is one of my life's goals and is my life's work. So I encourage you, please take advantage of all the opportunities that are out here. So let's get started. This presentation that I'm going over is really a discussion that I started a few years ago with Dr. Michael Wood. Dr. Wood was a Norfolk State University student in my technology education program. Dr. Wood went on and got his master's degree down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And ultimately, I was one of his mentors who assisted him in pursuing his PhD at Penn State University. So Dr. Wood now Dr. Edgar Farmer, who's another Norfolk Stater who graduated in the 70s, who was one of Mike's mentors as well. We worked on his presentation, and fortunately for us, the presentation was accepted and provided to a large forum. Unfortunately for myself and Dr. Farmer, Dr. Wood went to Hawaii by himself to give the presentation. So we applaud him for the great work he's done, but the ability to share this type of information with folk in the future and help them make career decisions is our goal. So let's go forward. Examining challenges that inhibit underrepresented minority groups from pursuing technical career skills. So the whole point of this presentation really deals with, we're trying to understand what are factors that influence young people from not going into STEM fields, and what may be some factors that encourage them to progress into STEM. Because the challenge we have is not purely just picking one specific discipline, but having a relationship with any part of that industry where students can become gainfully employed. So you'll see in this first information that a lot of Latino males have consistently been more likely to drop out of high school than males in other ethnic groups. So what that helps us to understand is that the idea of students not pursuing through school a STEM field and not being able to complete high school is a systemic problem across the diaspora, not just for African Americans, but with other minority groups as well. You'll see that there are large drop-off rates for United States natives, foreign-born Hispanics, and in 2008, African American males, we were only 5% of all the undergraduates in the United States. Now imagine how difficult it is to identify African American men who are at the graduate level if only 5% are undergraduate. And so that causes us to have a shortage of opportunities where Black men in particular are in those positions. Black men are leaders, ultimately may become managers, ultimately may become entrepreneurs and company owners, may be eligible to receive contracts. Those things are impacted not at the point of post graduation at the graduate level, but those things are impacted when you start in high school. And it's shocking to know that we have these sort of numbers in an educational system that spends the type of money it does, and we still have some shortfalls and pitfalls regarding the success of our students. Nationally, only 52% of Black males and 58% of Latino males graduate from high school in 4 years. During those same years of 2012, 78% of white non-Latino males graduated in 4 years. So we have some strides to make. There are some differences in performance. Our goal is through webinars and through relationships like this is to increase those numbers. So what this study will do is we're looking at what are the things that inhibit minority students to pursue careers in the technology field and in the technology industry. So here we'll see that there are a listing of items that we feel and that the data shows us that are characteristics that impede young people from going into STEM fields and in their careers. One is educational persistence, educational economics, retention, economic realities and workplace inequality, human capital growth, investment, growth initiatives, and program modeling. So I'll explain what some of those are in a greater detail in a minute. And so when we look at persistence barriers and that are under educational, when you're looking at this slide, I think most of us can relate who've had a chance to go to high school, go to college, go to trade schools, or go and excel in associate and bachelor's degree programs. Sometimes the issue of underpreparedness does creep into the mindset of students. They feel that their school did not prepare them well enough to go on to the next level. They have some students who don't even apply to some colleges because they feel they don't meet the standards for entry. And that lack of preparedness is systemic, both in high school, elementary school, and university systems. There are some things that are socially that are barriers to us not choosing certain schools. Sometimes it is we don't want a large institution and we only have access to a large institution where we live. Sometimes we want a campus environment and not a downtown environment. We want something that's a little more rural. So I encourage young people, try to find that institution, try to find that training locale that fits many of your personal mores, many of the things that really speak to you about being in a safe environment and a wholesome environment and a diverse but also inclusive environment, because those two things are separate. We do see that race can be a factor, and that's evident because when you look at the completion rates of young people in many of those academic environments that I listed earlier, you see when they're broken out by race, there are major differences, and I'll show you a slide in a second about the inconsistencies between completion rates for white versus non-white students. Socioeconomic is one of those things that impacts us the most here at the university where I work, because we have so many students who desire to go to college. They desire to get the training and certifications that they need to be viable in business and industry. But because they come from a home where maybe a 529, which is a college savings plan, was never created, or they come from a home where the cost of college is not something valued by the family from the investment side, or they just don't have the ability to pay for college, it becomes a barrier. And so we work real hard in trying to identify young people who can do the work, but not only can they do the work, that we can provide the financial assistance to assist them in navigating to success. One of the things I love that I do in addition to this work is I work with the Gates Millennium Scholarship Foundation, and I also work with the UNCF STEM Scholars Foundation and Scholarship, and I'll talk a little bit about them a little later, but they do a wonderful job of identifying the brightest young minds that we have in this country and assisting them with accessing schools of their choice with a variety of majors in any of the STEM disciplines, and it assists them in getting undergraduate and graduate degrees and creating some of the brightest minds with new inventions and patents that you would not even imagine were possible had you not met these people, or had I not met these young people for myself. We have some talented people in this world, and some talented people in some small spaces. We just got to give them a place to shine. We got to give them an opportunity to be successful. So escalating tuition costs and fees, that is something that every legislature in the country, in the state, are discussing, because the fees in most colleges and universities is increasing every year, but salaries are not. The cost to attend is one half. I always talk, and financial need. So I love talking about a scholarship we started here at Norfolk State. In particular, it's the Epsilon Zeta undergraduate Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated Endowed Scholarship, which is a scholarship we created to assist young men who are members of Kappa Alpha Psi at the undergraduate level to come to Norfolk State, but more importantly, to receive some assistance in financially to help retain them in school. Because of the cost of school, because of the cost of just the pure tuition, and the cost of books and supplies, we're in a generational time now where your book for your class can be between $200 and $800. And that's a huge monument in front of people when they're considering I want to go to college, but I had no idea it cost that much because I'm used to high school where the cost to attend is free in most cases, as well as the cost and access to books. So there is some literature that moves forward that talks about African American males and Latino males and how we are navigating the system. That it was published by Harper, Bowen, Palmer, Davis, a whole host of people, and they're pretty much coming to the same conclusion, and that is that while minorities are entering STEM fields, they are not persistent to graduation in the same number as their white and Asian counterparts. So that last sentence there really acts as the driving force behind many of the workshops that I do, many of the presentations I do, and many of the places where I speak to try to encourage young people to pursue STEM careers, because the payday for being a STEM practitioner are huge. The opportunities are huge. You are not limited to one location in this country to work. You can work all over the country. And because we're dealing with areas of technology and engineering, you're not always having to work on site at the job. You may be working from home. You may be working from your dorm room. You may be working from a remote location, and you're dialing in and you're logging in and getting the same productivity as someone who gets up, drives 2 hours to work, works most of the day, coffee break, smoke break, talk at the water cooler break, and you're getting the same work done. And that's what STEM allows you to do. And as you progress and find that employer that is receptive to that sort of working relationship, it becomes wonderful. And I have quite a few friends who work remotely and are able to garner six-figure and above salaries because of the type of work they do. There is some additional research that and literature that supports that white and Asian American students who started as STEM majors have 4-year STEM degree completion rates of only 24.5% and 32.4% respectively. Now, when you think about that, I tell my students all the time, 24 and 32%, that's low. 100 people walk in your store and only 20 buy something, but you still providing accommodations for all of those people who walk in. Well, based on this data that was done in 2010, that's kind of the upside, because in comparison, Latino, Black, and Native American students who initially began college as a STEM major had 4-year STEM degree completion rates of only 15, 13, and 14% respectively. And so imagine that in many STEM fields, for every 100 students that start as a freshman, when they leave home, mom, dad, son, what are you going to do? I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be a technologist. And in less than 4 years, only 10, only 15, only 14 of those 100 students actually arrive at that goal. And that's where we have to provide more assistance on the front end and more preparedness for our young people as they are choosing our careers. Now, this slide here is a wonderful slide which breaks down a lot of the factors that impact the decisions young people make. And I want you, as you look at this slide, to kind of back up from all of the information that's on that slide and slowly work your way through it when you on your own time about what of these items are impacting me personally. Because and when you look at the top left-hand side and you see the section that says goals, developing personal goals is at the core. It's at the foundation of what many people will do in their lifetime and what career choices they will make in their lifetime and be successful at. The fact that you even chose a personal goal. And young people miss this sometimes because what's thrown at you is the money, the trinkets, the toys, the goods that you see major actors, entertainers, major sports figures have. And I think those things are great. I think those people all earn their money, but everyone did the same thing. At some point, they were asked that question of themselves: what do I want to do? I always say, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do that makes people give you their money every morning when you wake up? And when you start with those personal goals, it helps you pick, is there a degree path to those goals? Now, I'll be the first to tell you, as a STEM professor, as a folk with a whole lot of education, been to a lot of schools, and I work in higher education, that everyone does not go to college. Many of our great inventors, many of our wealthiest people, they started school but may not have finished and completed. I mean, everybody uses when they want to slack, or when they want to take a break from school. Well, Bill Gates didn't graduate, and Mark Zuckerberg didn't graduate. The kids like to throw that one out there, but I'm like, okay, that's two. There's still another 27 million missing. So, but college is not for everyone. But I tell people, don't think about college as the end all and be all. Think about, did you receive the training? Did you receive the certification? Did you receive the experiences that you need to be successful in your career choice? That's what's most important. And that can be received whether you start with an associate degree program or certificate degree program, or a full baccalaureate or graduate degree program. I'll be showing you a link later on where a number of students, they attend the governor's school there in Fairfax, Virginia at Chantilly High School. I was on their cybersecurity board there. And here again, these young people didn't have to attend a traditional four-year college, and they're leaving high school, going into the cybersecurity field, garnering and commanding paydays as high school graduates of $63,000 plus, because of the industry and because of the need for people that are in that area. There are pre-college factors. We kind of mentioned them earlier in terms of age, your high school academic performance, your spirituality, and or your disability. I always point to disability when I talk about this, because I have some young people in my class right now who are both deaf and mute, and he's in my drafting class. And I always get the question, so how is he able to perform in your drafting class, and he does not have, and he has manual dexterity challenges, so how is he able to be successful? I says, well, I don't look at the things he can't do. I look to maximize the things he can do. And so what happens is, he wants to be an engineer. Specifically, through his interpreter, he wants to be a hydroelectric engineer. And so what he's doing in my class is, he's not having to draw by pen and paper and pencil and paper. He's drawing using multi-sim computer programs. He's drawing using CAD, where he can take icons, and he can take the mouse, and he can take the command and controls, and at his own pace, he can create circuits. I bring this young man up in the front of class periodically to when I'm working one-on-one with him, and he has everything in his mind of what he wants to do. He'll draw on a complete circuit, tell me what the amperage is, what the voltage is. He'll tell me what all of the electronic components are that are needed to be successful for this circuit to work. And then he'll take his time and draw it. And so it's not about identifying the things that hinder us. It's really about accentuating those things that are our strengths and that are in the abilities of the young people. Moving on, there are societal barriers and factors. Tremendous. What is stereotypical about Black males? And as a Black male myself, I think I know there are some things that I would add to this discussion about how I feel being treated, and sometimes how I observed I'm being treated, and how I observe others being treated. But I want to talk really about many of those things we control and not just the stereotypical things that are hindrances. There is direct racism and there is indirect racism. Um, in my work with the Gates Millennium Foundation, we have a question we ask students to fill out during the questionnaire component that asks them to identify a situation when you have been treated unfairly. Because we want to know how you're going to act or respond when you get in a tough situation in school and we are paying your tuition to be there. How are you going to handle that challenging situation where you or someone else was unfairly treated? And so often we do get a response from young people who say, I've never witnessed racism. And at first, some of our newer, younger readers will say, come on now, everybody's experienced racism. And we share with them, well, no, some people aren't aware that the situation they're in, the situation they went to or through, had racism attached to it. Because you're raised in a home where you may be sheltered, or you're raised in a home where the socioeconomic abilities of your family keep you from certain situations. And then you're raised in families where your ability to overlook and forgive supersede your sensitivities about exactly why did that person follow me in the store. The times are changing, so we tell people there are things that you indirectly identify, things you directly identify with. So each of these societal, pre-college, and goals, you'll see that they are attached to the various variables and factors that allow a student to identify, again, what ultimately allows that student to arrive at a point of academic success. And we see that four primary factors is their persistence, their desire to achieve, and their attainment of information, certifications, and information about the discipline that they use and transfer into their modes of operandi. So when we talked about the graduation rates, wow, I want you to look at this, and I want you to look at it really closely and then think about what the ramifications of this is for you. In California, and we just took a sampling of states where this information was made available through up to 2012. In California, 50% graduation rate for Black students. At the same time, white non-Latino were at 83%. Look at District of Columbia, where many of you either live or have relations at. At that time, only 38% of the young people who had gone to school and are counted in this high school graduation rate, only 38% of them graduated. And for me as a professor, for me as a college recruiter, attempting to attract students into the college environment for educational experience and opportunity, and not just the education, but the social awareness and the quote quote fun you can have in school. To know that I'm only able to initially speak to upwards of 38 to 40% of young people when I'm talking in the Black community who are even eligible, who even graduate. Now, graduation rate is not telling you how many of them qualify for your particular college. It tells you how many met the minimum standard for graduation. And so there's a whole larger conversation that can take place. So I want to just take a brief pause right here to see if there's anyone that will have a question. And I'd like to throw out as a short question for those of you that are online looking at this slide. So where would you rather be, in Hawaii or New York, if you are an African American male looking to go to high school with the expectations of graduating?
Well, it appears that Hawaii is the place to be right now.
Yes, it is. And I like that 60%, even though 60% in many scales is considered low, it is actually a fairly high number. I don't know what is causing Hawaii to have 60%, but I do know that if I went to Hawaii, I think I'd be in that number of students who were successful. So I want to move on with what are some of the things that really allow us to improve the student successes in STEM. As a college professor, one of the things that I'm required to do is academic advising. And when I am working with the Gates Foundation and with the UNCF Foundation, I often talk in forums about making good choices. And one of those choices right here is a simple thing of students just taking a full load of credits. Now, in today's times, most undergraduate degrees require 120 credit hours. That means you'll take 15 credit hours per semester, which ends up being 30 credit hours per year, 4 years without summer school and no failed classes. You graduate in 4 years. Now, sometimes some people meet that goal. Sometimes people need a little more than 4 years. But as a basic benchmark for scheduling of classes, is to take a full load, which is that 12 credit hours. And in reality, in the college level, while 12 credit hours is considered full time, what is considered a full term equivalency, otherwise known as an FTE, is 15 credit hours. And is that 15 credit hours where we see a student must take that 30 credit hours a year. So over 4 years was 120. I think I initially said 12 credit hours was actually 24, but I think in correcting that, you get the point, is that you should register for a full load of courses. Now, in taking those courses, one of the barriers to students graduating across the board is math. We have found through our own math placement testing and through math placement testing that happens across the country that many students are not successful, not because they don't desire to do the work, and when vocationally challenged, they're able to succeed through experiential learning and on-the-job training, but so many have a challenge with math placement. And as an engineering major, one of the challenges you have is taking the appropriate math your first semester. Because if you have to take a lower level math or developmental math, that automatically adds on another semester to your studies because the courses are offered sequentially. And the courses are offered so that you cannot take this 300 level class until you've completed the prerequisites at the 1 and 200 level. And so we try to encourage people to learn how to navigate themselves to success when they are in college and in making both good choices in the progression of courses they take, and in some cases with the professors that they take those courses under. You see at the bottom there, it says a greater sense of engagement and belonging with other students, faculty, advisors, and support staff. That's real. Those young people who participate in groups and organizations, whether it's fraternities, sororities, the band, the choir, the acting program, they tend to develop lifelong relationships that offers opportunities for them to be encouraged to stay in school because they develop those societal relationships. And so I always encourage people to get involved with your student government association. Get involved with the Panhellenic organizations that meet your personal social needs, and also to get involved with Student Government Association and other auxiliaries of the institution, because those relationships, sometimes that is that person whose shoulder you cry on, is sometimes that study buddy who meets you in the library and helps you get work, or that person that helps you prepare for that test that you need work with. So that sense of belonging between the student and the faculty member is great. I love and what we're doing at Norfolk State in particular, because when you have classrooms and student teacher ratios remain between 18 and 30 to 1, depending upon the major, then it allows the students to have a chance to have a one-on-one relationship with the teacher, to ask extra questions in class, to have study time outside of class, and to be able to navigate with the assistance of a teacher who can take the time to work with you one-on-one and take an interest in you, and not you come into a classroom with 300 people and you're lost, you're a number, and you feel intimidated with that large environment. So this next slide looks at, in 2008, what were the STEM degrees that were provided to students? And in the first column, where you see the blue letters, bachelor degrees in STEM subjects were awarded to males at 66%. For white males, African American males, only 5%. Male college age population, you see 60% for white male, 15% for African American male. And those numbers get lower. The only group that sticks out as an anomaly, or particularly for the bachelor's degrees in STEM, become Asian Pacific Islanders. And so this is eye-opening for those of us who are in STEM fields, those of you, and I know a couple of you on this line who are in the process of work. You're working and you're doing a great job, but you also, in the back of your mind, are working towards retirement. And in working towards retirement, you're saying, who is going to replace me? Is it going to be someone who looks like me? Is it going to be someone who shares my values? Is it going to be someone who not only fits in from a geopolitical or a racial issue, or from a cultural issue, but someone who I see a legacy being passed on and extended on? Because diversity is that you're in the room. Inclusion is that you're making part of the decisions. And that is the place where I implore people to truly look at opportunities in the STEM fields, and to truly pursue becoming a STEM major, because you are extremely valuable. Companies need diversity. Companies are looking for those diverse backgrounds. It is because those diverse positions of thought and those diverse positions of experiences is why there are many patents and many new inventions that occur and take place in the STEM fields. It's that, oh my gosh moment where a colleague says, I think I got it. And it's that diversity and those different experiences that I think make for a healthier society and a healthy work community overall. I have a couple of slides here that are available to you when you're looking at this at your leisure. Great information regarding access to secondary and post-secondary institutions. I encourage you, those young people here are on this this webinar, look at institutions. The advantage you have over young people in the past is that you can go online, you can go to College Board, you can go to the website of any institution in this country, and you can literally navigate that entire campus by looking at their website. And in some cases, you can navigate the website as if you're walking around via their Google Earth and Google Maps apps, that help you make a decision about that's an environment I think I could be in. I like that program, but I see that program over at another institution, it may have more opportunities for me to work hands-on. I love the idea that I can access tutors. I love the idea that I'm working with professors who are experts in the various fields. And so I encourage young people to visit as many schools as you can to see what they prescribe as their 4-year plan for graduation. Consider a strong relationship with those faculty members at that school you do choose. Even in high school, those faculty that you have the greatest relationship with, they can become the best writers for your recommendations for college. And I have reviewed so many recommendations from young people where they just chose someone who did not have an academic relationship with them that was a solid foundation where that people had positive things to say. And so when you choose a person who does not support you in your academic endeavors, and that's your letter of recommendation, as a reviewer, we say that says more about you, the student, than it does that professor or that teacher or that principal or that administrator who gave you a poor recommendation, because that is an example of your discernment of how you choose people. A number of programs have first year success communities, otherwise called living learning communities. We have some here at Norfolk State where students who are in a common major, not only do they take a majority of their classes together as a group, but when they go back to their dormitory, they tend to live in the same general area in a particular dorm and maybe on a particular floor. And so that allows and encourages that study buddy. That allows you, when you're having a really tough time with a teacher, to have an upperclassman to say to you, well, I had the same problem, but once I started this particular trick and learning to memorize my information or learning to review my materials differently and use my study buddies, use the library more efficiently, I was able to be successful in the class. But this is what you have to do. And it is those relationships that are interpersonal. They're not single gender relationship. They can be single gender or they can be cross gender, where you have a relationship with the female that is purely one that you are each other's supporter in the classroom, and it's a platonic relationship. And college affords that. It really does. You are human capital, and companies want to invest in you. And those companies that are the largest, most prolific companies, they are not monoliths. They're looking for students and they're looking for employees from a variety of backgrounds. They're looking for employees who can bring to the table diverse opinions, diverse positions that challenge the ethos of the company, and positions that people have that help reshape the ethos of the company. And you'll see that a lot with the most successful companies. They talk about the relationships they have, the communications that they have. A couple of programs that are marquee programs that are often identified and listed for students to go in STEM. That is a White House campaign to improve the participation of people in STEM. As a matter of fact, STEM White House supported STEM programs are programs that have been supported by all administrations, both Democrat and Republican. They are programs because our leaders recognize the need to have more of our citizenry in the population and available to tap for a lot of the changes in technology. When we look at cybersecurity, we're looking at something that on the common scale was not highly present. But when it comes to Secret Service, national intelligence issues, cybersecurity has been an area of growth that is booming. And there is a need for more cybersecurity companies, both by our federal government, our local government, and our local institutions. We have young people who graduate from our program, and they are hired as cybersecurity experts in banks. And so you can imagine that there's a need for that person in a bank, because you want your money protected. You want your funds that you place into a bank, you want to make sure that they are there a week from now or a month from now. And you want to make sure that when your job forwards over your check for your work week, that it actually goes into your account. And so there are a lot of opportunities where in cybersecurity and in computer technology in general and information technology in general, where the application of what you know transcends one individual industry. It can be an industrial or commercial or civil or the residential industry that you're working in, whether it's public, private, or federal government. There are the Harlem improvement zones. There are opportunity zones that exist in various parts of the country where finances are available for the improvement of communities and improving these communities and the infrastructure of these communities. That's more jobs. The more homes we build, the more smart houses we build. The more smart houses we build, the more apps our programmers are creating to control those devices. We have a wonderful program here at Norfolk State University that deals in computer engineering, that deals with both robotics and simulation. And our students at the graduate level, they are building apps and they are building video games for Wii and for other major gaming systems. And so I always tell people, I'm not impressed if you're the best Madden player. I'm impressed if you can make the best or the next Madden game, because that's where the real money is. And we have a program that does that. But while that program is preparing people for making games, they also have grants and have conducted research where they train people how to operate and how to participate as a nurse in a hospital room. So they stage the patient, they stage all the medical equipment, they stage all of the nurses and medical staff, and they provide training apps that show people based on a video game how to provide proper bedside manner, how to diagnose and begin treating a patient that comes in to a hospital room. And now you can do that without exposing young people to sick people in real life for the first time, and they're able to begin to have less anxiety in dealing with pressure situations that you would find in a normal hospital environment. The same class then goes over to the Portsmouth International Shipping Center, and they design shipping routes for containers that come in and out of Portsmouth, the Portsmouth docks. So robotics, animation, cybersecurity, computer technology, computer engineering, engineering technology, all of those industries allow us to be contributors to society and to really make a change and make a wonderful income if you choose that discipline to go into. The Meyerhoff Scholars Program, I mentioned this because they are equivalent to the DeNemis Scholarship Program here at Norfolk State. Meyerhoff is a program at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, that a great friend of mine, Dr. Ernestine Baker, was the executive director of for so many years, and I worked with her, the Gates Millennium Scholarship. Urban Prep and GAIN, Getting African American and Latino Males Educated, are some other programs that are really modeling some things that we are doing that we hope will incite more people about coming into our STEM field. 75% of the kids or the children born by 2030 will be people of color. And for some folk, they may feel threatened by that, but the reality is the new majority will be people of color, the minority. And by 2050, the majority of school-age kids will be Latino, and 74% of the labor force will be Latino in the coming years. And so this data that stems from 2012 and continues to this day is foretelling for us what the environment is truly going to look like and what the workplace is going to look like and what the expectations are going to be for so many employees who are looking for in workers.
I wanted to step in just for a second to offer anybody that's on the line before I start asking my questions. If they have any questions, if you look if you raise your hands in the chat section, or I will unmute you. You can ask that question. So, Dr. Banks, I would allow you to continue. I just stepped in there just for a second. I know we've got
Yes.
probably about maybe 20 minutes before we come up against our stop on the webinar, but definitely I know you wanted to take some questions. And so I wanted to get that opportunity for everybody after you go through your conclusion. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you want to conclude there?
Okay, we're hearing none. Let's wrap this up. I just have a few things I want to make sure that's available for you. So, one of the things in conclusion is that the shift from minority to majority means that race, ethnicity, and culture will undoubtedly play a more important role in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And that's because the sheer number of people who will be the dominant number of people in America will be people of color. And so a reality is we have to change many of our ways of thinking about the abilities of young people and expanding what we have as outreach programs, what we have as service programs, what we have as opportunities for employment for young people who may choose to come into the STEM fields. These slides, I hope you take the time to look at this presentation and to read it for yourself. Depending upon your age group and depending upon your interest, some really great information, but I do want to move forward and cover just a couple of slides. Come on, here we go. So in closing, I said to Brother Harrison that one of the things I want to provide for the listeners and for the viewers of this is some hyperlinks that provide some additional wealth of information, because we're here in the year of 2019 going into 2020, and you're not able to navigate via the internet locations, websites of your own to get information about programs that were not available for us to do years ago. So this first page is Norfolk State University. You see the website for our institution. And this is the website for the cybersecurity program we have here at Norfolk State University. This is available on the NSU website when you click on the link I provided, or when you go to the website and just search under cybersecurity. We have a designated area and that we are responsible for in providing cybersecurity instruction and cybersecurity degrees, cyber molding, simulation, analysis, and experimentation, as I mentioned before. All of these areas work in concert with what we're doing in cybersecurity. And It's so incredible because this was a program that Dr. Aurelia Williams, who was our department chair of computer science at the time and a Norfolk State University graduate, she was able to attract, excuse me, of over $25 million for the development of this lab and for the education and training of young people who will be going into the cybersecurity arena. And we have not only offered undergraduate coursework that a student can take, but we have also started and developed a master's degree program in cybersecurity. And I'm not going to make it breaking news, but I think it's already out there. We also have petitioned for offering a PhD in cybersecurity here from Norfolk State, which is a natural because we're in such a high level federal environment. So it's quite natural that it's an area that we go into to meet the needs of our community. When you visit our website, please make sure you visit the news and events, because through that website, you're able to find that we do have a number of summer internships that we provide here through the university. We have a number of summer camps that we provide here through the university. And these camps have different age groups, both at high school and pre-high school level. And then we have a number of conferences that our people, our young students, and our professors have participated in to ensure that we're at the forefront and we're at the helm of the cybersecurity discipline in the United States. And so this is one of those long stem roses, as one of my professors used to say, that we are truly excited about being able to provide for young people who go into cybersecurity. This website also lists some of the scholarship assistance that we have available to students who are interested in becoming a Norfolk State University student. These fees that you see here under research, teaching, and lab assistant are the graduate assistantships that you receive. And this is in addition to the fact you have full tuition to come to the university and study. And so I love to tell my young people, I know grown from working that don't make this kind of money, and they're in a job where there's no expectation of them making six figures when they finish. And so it's a great opportunity for you to consider to come to Norfolk State University. And we answer those questions. Where can I go? What can I do? Where will I work? And what are the opportunities you'll help me provide? So we provide all that information for you. So please look at that at your leisure. This program, I did mention that I work with the Gates Millennium Scholarship and with the UNCF STEM Scholarship. Now, the Gates Millennium Scholarship is a program that was supported and financed by $1.6 billion by Mr. Bill and Melinda Gates and the Gates Foundation. That program now is a combination in a review status, as well as is supporting the 20,000 young people that we provided scholarships to over a 17-year period. We were funding 1,000 students a year. The first year we funded 3,000. We're funding 1,000 students a year, and it assists those young people in going to college and choosing majors and careers. They had to be students of color, Native American, Asian Pacific Islanders, African American, and they were naturalized citizens, and they were able to major and go to college, and we paid all their unmet need for them to attend school. That's at the undergraduate level, the bachelor's, the master's, and their PhD. So it's an incredible program that said, show me a young person who financially is limited, qualifies for Pell financial aid, but does not have the money to go themselves, and they're brilliant. Well, we're going to provide an opportunity for them to go to college, and we're going to pay for it, and we're going to watch them strive and in their particular disciplines. Since that program, which was operationally ran by the UNCF Foundation, The UNCF Foundation has since started the UNCF STEM Scholarship. This scholarship is specifically for students that are students of color, and they are able to work on a variety of degrees, and they must attend colleges and universities in the country that have a relationship with the UNCF organization. I provided this link because not only can you to get access to the UNCF STEM Scholarship, and that scholarship portal is going to be open for the STEM Scholars program. It'll close in late January, early February. But they also provide links and access to a whole host of scholarships that sometimes students aren't aware of. And that's where I really appreciate what Kappa Alpha Psi is doing and what Brother Jackson and Brother Harrison is doing with these webinars, because we are archiving opportunities for young people to go anywhere in this world, to do anything, to reach the highest highs and to achieve their career goals purely by accessing information that's been provided by you, but may not be provided and readily available by their academic counselor in their public schools. And so I applaud you for what you're doing. And I hope that young people will take the time that even if they don't review the entire presentation as it is submitted, that they will go to these areas where these valuable and invaluable links are provided that speak to scholarships and speak to the fact that there are companies, there are organizations that have a value for you as a technology major, and we are looking for you to come to us. And you can see in this bio here, you see all these beautiful people of color, and you see all these universities that they represent. And I love this picture. I love the people and the faces. I just want to see more HBCUs. And my goal is to encourage more people to come to a Hampton, to come to a Norfolk State, to come to an Elizabeth City State, to come to a North Carolina T, to come to a Howard University, a Virginia State University, to come to institutions where opportunities are still abound, where there are scholarship assistance opportunities available for them, and they get an outstanding career in any of their STEM disciplines. Another page of scholarship links, I'm not going to go over all of them. Again, you can click on them at your leisure. The one scholarship page, well, the two scholarship pages I specifically did want to select was this one provided by UNCF. This is an incredible website, because all you have to do is review this website and you can identify the date, the name of the various scholarship applications that are out here. You then are able to look at what date the scholarship portal opens for you to apply for the scholarship, and what is the closing date and deadline for those scholarships. And some of these you see will be ending soon in November the 22nd and 19th, and then some will be ending a little later, such as March the 2nd in 2020. So I encourage people to visit the UNCF, the scholarships.uncf.org website, because a whole host of scholarships are available through this portal. Chantilly Academic website. Now, Chantilly High School in Fairfax, Virginia, I think some of my guests on this line may be familiar with the school. You may be familiar with the school because it is one of the governor's schools. But I included this link because along with the various vocations that they offer, you do see that they offer cybersecurity programming for young people to get their certifications and license at the Fairfax High School there in Chantilly, Chantilly, Virginia. And it is a wonderful program. These young people complete the program. They get certifications. The various companies you see here are sponsors of the program, as well as employers that hire these young people. Virginia Star, Cyber Patriot, and Northrop Grumman are principal supporters, where some outstanding young people. The Association of Computer Repair Business Owners, CompTIA. These companies provide pathways for these young people to be gainfully employed straight out of high school. And as I said before, many of the young people that we worked with when I was on their board left us and went directly into companies and were sporting $63,000 to $70,000 salaries day one. And then they were supported with some programming at the community college there in Nova, and that was paid for by the company. So it's a wonderful opportunity for young people. I want to just provide resources for you so that you are trying to navigate yourself to success. I'm not going to click any of these links because it's too numerous, but I provided them because some of these links, many of these links are still active. And the interesting part is many of these scholarships are just looking for you to apply. And even though some of the verbiage still has the original date of the scholarship, when you click on that link, you go to today's current date information about those scholarships. Now you'll see scholarships of $1,000, and sometimes your bank will give you $500, and sometimes a particular organization, I know as Kappas, we have a number of scholarships we provide. Those scholarships add up. Those scholarships can meet all of your bill and unmet need. And so I encourage you, spend your senior year not with senioritis, taking challenging courses, investigating schools that provide the degree and degree options you think you want, and contacting the professors at those schools. And when you contact those professors, they will be willing to give you information, host you on a visit or career day so that you can get information about how can I be successful at your school, and are there opportunity and financially for retention dollars and graduation assistance for me to ensure that I'm successful. Lastly, I added this last page here because this is one of the things that happens while you're in college. So much of my discussion was about trying to invite you here. Once you get here, one of the things that is our forte here at Norfolk and at most institutions that I've worked at and participated in with is they provide access to summer research, graduate school, and other opportunities that you can pursue during your time as a student at the undergraduate level. You can do this during the summer or after graduation. And so I included this not only so you can see where you are, and not only so you can see your immediate future of coming to college and being a STEM major, but where you can see your greater distant future of becoming a professional in a research lab or research institution or in an academic engineering, science, technology, mathematics program in this country. So I hope you enjoyed my time today. I really enjoyed an opportunity to really just work and discuss with you about some of the opportunities available in STEM. I'd love to hear from you if you have any additional questions regarding opportunities here at Norfolk State. I'd love to hear from you for opportunities at colleges and universities around the country. That's my life's work. I was on the phone today with young people from Southern University and from North Carolina State University and Elizabeth City State University, who are all seeking graduate school. And I am one of their sponsors and mentors with their pursuit of their education, in this case, both at NC State, each at NC State, Penn State, and Purdue University. So anytime that I can be of service to any of you, please feel free to contact me. You see my work number, you see my email here on the website, and I look forward to hearing from you. So any discussions or questions or comments, I'd love to hear them.
Dr. Banks, if we form any other questions, we'll take those as they come. But I just wanted to take a moment, to thank you, because it's not often that for me, having been out of school, I don't want to tell our age, but having been out of school for 30 years to have my mentor and fraternity brother on the phone to be able to share your experience with our Kappa League and Guide Right students across the country. And we know it's a challenge. I saw one of the slides and I want to mention my company's name, but in some of the programs, and I know that the underrepresentation in those programs
Yes.
is shocking. And I tell it, the brothers all the time in Guide Right, we get lulled into a false sense of security because we see high achieving students all the time. We
Yes.
see students excelling in our programs.
Yes.
But the key is, what are the companies seeing?
Yes.
What is Northrop Grumman seeing? What is Lockheed Martin seeing? What is Booz Allen Hamilton? What do they see? So it's
Yes.
important that we make sure that the resources that we've been trying to provide, like attending BEA in DC,
Mhm.
attending the National Society of Black Engineers fall regional conferences, and also the national convention, which will be in Texas this summer,
Yes.
to because those are the places where for college students in particular, that's where they make their hiring goals and set hiring goals when they look for talent. These
Yes.
are areas that they're targeting. So it's important that we get the word out through this webinar, through these meetings, that these are the opportunities, and for you to be professional, to be able to share this and understand scholarships. Parents always looking for scholarships.
Yes.
We understand it, so we appreciate that. I want to give Brother Jackson, who again is our Cap Outside Guide Right Technology Education Chair, if he's still on, and we've been on for a while, if he's still there, if he had any questions, and while he's formulating that, I do want to mention that this is kind of the end of National Cybersecurity Awareness Week for careers that we're doing. In December, we're going to be looking at Computer Science Education Week, which is December 9th through the 15th. And what we're going to do in particular is try our first hour of code presentation. We're going to do that on January 11th, and it's going to be about 5 hours because we're going to try to bring in 100 students in Alexandria, DC, Maryland area. So be on the lookout for that. I think one of the things one of the takeaways when you talk about archiving opportunities, this webinar and the webinars we've done over the past years and the ones that we'll continue to do will be available for our Guide Right students, not just for currently, but for years to come. So we definitely appreciate your time and efforts to share your experiences and all this knowledge with us this evening.
Wonderful.
Also, I did take a note for my nephew who's in college, and I did the math. He should be up around 45 semester hours when he comes home in December. So I know what FTE is.
Well, sometimes them summer breaks is a shocker for parents. I had a young person. I had a young person today, and I think you've met him. And I had a discussion with his parents about how he's progressing, and his parents were like, "I didn't think he was doing that well." I said, I said, well, we're gonna keep him covered. We're gonna keep him encouraged because he has the ability to do. But some of our young people, as you saw in the early part of that discussion, they're juggling so many responsibilities. They're trying to work. When you were in school, you didn't have to pay a cell phone bill, so your first $150 is not going out the window. Well, these kids, their first 150 is gone. And so they're still trying to maintain their bills, trying to subsist in school, and then trying to have a little bit of fun when they meet somebody. So it's a different age, it's a different day, and we're just trying to make sure young people are informed, they're informed consumers, and that they can be successful in coming in our schools. But we do want them to understand, that parents understand. I appreciate football camps in the summer, basketball camps in the summer. I work with all of those camps here through the university. But summer camps in business, my nephew's in the fifth grade. Summer camps in business and investing, summer camps in mathematics, summer camps in physics, summer camps in the STEM disciplines also provide that foundation, because math is the gatekeeper for so many young people.
And we appreciate those comments. And I do see on the screen you're showing these summer camps, and I really want to stress for our Guide Right, not the parents, the Guide Right Kappa League advisors, that a lot of these opportunities on these college campuses are free. You just
Yes,
have to apply.
yes,
We've got a relationship with Gen Cyber, and I know Norfolk State University has a cybersecurity summer academy for middle school and high school students, but Gen Cyber is one of those organizations, sponsored by NSA and NSF,
right
that have
here.
camps all over the country,
Yep,
and they are free.
yes,
We were able to place a student in the Detroit, Michigan area. He didn't have no idea. The professor had no idea what Kappa Alpha Psi was, but
right.
he opened that last slot for one of our Guide Right students to participate. So
Yes,
we appreciate that.
yes, yes. So you're doing great work, and you're to be commended. And I feel honored and humbled to have this opportunity to be a part of this the foundation of construction for the next generation.
We thank you. Brother Jackson, you have any in closing for us this evening? I know he's probably on mute, so I will go ahead and again thank you on behalf of Kappa Alpha Psi National Guide Right Commission. Again, this Diamonds in the Rough webinar series is sponsored by the Kellogg Foundation, the Kappa Alpha Psi Foundation, and we appreciate you again. And I know I'll see you soon, but we appreciate everything you did for this evening, and I thank
Yes,
everybody who's on the call and who will view this webinar. Thank you again.
thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Bye bye.